Tell it like it is Tuesday. That's what we got going on here. And today we're going to talk about bypassing. I'm not going to call it spiritual bypassing, although it can be called spiritual bypassing. But I also think it can be called personal development bypassing, personal growth bypassing. I'm just going to leave it at a flat old bypassing, and you're going to insert the word you need to insert there. So, spiritual bypassing would be like avoiding facing unresolved emotional issues. Yeah, yeah, I was the queen of that. For sure. And it didn't serve me well, but I was very much like, feeling yucky feelings doesn't serve me in any way. This isn't productive. This isn't good for me because I've also dealt with anxiety and depression in the past. And so sitting in a yucky feeling was horrible. I would get stuck in these, I call them the hurricane moments of like the emotions are all swirling and it's not a happy place to be in and I can't get out. I feel like I honestly cannot get out. Well, one, we can step out. It takes work, but we literally can step out of that. Two, that then I got into like having all these tools that would make me feel better. And so then I like swung to the other side wildly of like, I will feel no yucky feelings. And if I am feeling yucky feelings, I will just think positive thoughts. And then I will just think more positive thoughts. And that doesn't seem to be working. So I need to like write positive thoughts, or I need to talk positive thoughts, or I need to listen to a good podcast, or I need to do something that is enlifting and inspiring me and empowering me. Mm-mm. Not the answer. I want you to think about this as like a boat, and you are out on the lake and you drop your anchor. And so when you're bypassing, you're not pulling the anchor up. You're trying to move forward. So this comes in relationships. This comes in building a business. This comes in growing a business. This comes from leaving a job, starting a new job, starting a family, all of these things. If that anchor is not pulled up and we're not fully feeling into all of the feelings, it's really hard to move, right? Think how heavy that anchor is within you. If you need like clarity on that, let me know. I will gladly help you out. But I'll use the cheesy gardening analogies a lot. Like you got to get to the root of it. You got to fully pull it out, or you need to water the roots. All of that. Same type of situation. If you're not pulling up the anchor and getting to the root cause of why you are feeling the way you're feeling, it's not going to go away. It's not. It's like crappy old crabgrass that's just gonna keep growing, and you might like get the surface off, and then you're like 6 months or like the next day sometimes going like, why is this here again? I just got rid of you. Yeah, but you didn't. You just like superficially cut it off at the ground. That's it. And so that's what I do deep with people. That's what like the one-to-one capacity is. I also will touch into it on soul biz mentorship because opening a business for yourself, whatever capacity, brick and mortar, you want to speak, you want to write, you want to blog, whatever you want to do in your life, it is a very vulnerable thing. And so you will realize how many anchors you have around you holding you down in one place. I made a couple notes today because there's quite a few things that I want to cover here, and I don't want to keep you forever. And we're already at 3.5 minutes, almost 4 minutes. Oh my goodness. So, spiritual bypassing, X just bypassing, let's call it, looks like you ignoring your feelings. It can look like positive thinking. Like I was just saying, I'm just going to think more positive thoughts. Good vibes only. Yeah, I actually posted that a year and a half ago almost, I think. Good vibes only. Just think good thoughts because the law of attraction, right? You want to have yourself in a higher frequency and you want to call in all of these good things. Yes. Yes, you do. I am all about that. But that does not mean that you do not feel your feelings. That does not mean that you shame yourself for having anger or hurt or sadness or rage, even at times. You are a human being. You are having a human experience. You have to have feelings. That is what makes us human. And that's what we want to continue to make us human. We want to have positive feelings, quote unquote, negative feelings, quote unquote. There is no such thing. I want you to just like Wipe that off. Give yourself permission to like, all feelings are good. You have put value on that certain feelings are bad and that they're negative and that you should stay in that spot. And so I don't want you to look at it that way any longer. Let's just clean the slate. Feelings are feelings. The more I allow myself to feel the feelings and the more I allow them to come out and like really get into them. So like if you have anger, it's not just about the spot that you got angry about. That is not like the trigger, the piece that like was the straw that broke the camel's back. That's not what you're angry about. It goes deeper. This goes into shadow work. This goes into inner child work. And I'm not going to go into the depths of that today, but that is what bypassing is you're just like skimming over it. I'm just going to bypass this feeling and I'm going to think positive thoughts. And I'm going to think about all of the things that I'm grateful for. And you know, I love gratitude. I have a whole program on it. 30 days of gratitude. It's amazing. But that does not mean that you don't feel the feels, that you don't get into all of the feelings. You have to feel them all. The faster you feel them all, the faster they will flow through you. The faster you dig into those root feelings, those anchors that are holding you back, the more you get into them, the more you like dig that up, the more at peace you feel, the more at ease you feel with the things that you can't control. Because I guarantee that you are trying to control things that you cannot control, but you can control how you feel. In that, you don't have to shame yourself for feeling. I hope you like really see the difference there. You have to feel the feels. I already touched on law of attraction, so I don't have to go there for you. One thing that I do truly believe is that everything happens for a reason to a degree. I think there are always lessons within something happening for us. So if we are going, like if we have repetitiveness in our life of, let's say, even just getting headaches or neck aches or shoulder pains or lower back hurt, if something internal is going on there, you need to look a little bit deeper on that. You might not be ready, and that's okay. But don't pretend it's not there by bypassing over. Those things are all connected within your nervous system and within your body. Um, Everything happens for a reason can also be shameful if you've been in a toxic relationship before. Oh, this person's treating me that way, but everything happens for a reason. There's boundaries there. There's a lot of gray area within there. I don't want you to like look at any negative situation that has happened of like everything happens for a reason and then you just carry on and like think about like, oh, it's going to come in threes. That's a big one. Not a lot of us do. I used to do it all the time. Oh, bad things happen in threes. Okay, where's the third one so we can get this over with? Doesn't work that way. We want it to. It's like an old wives' tale, right? Doesn't mean that it has to be that way. You can have one thing happen and nothing else needs to happen. You need to just like dig into what the lesson is that's coming from whatever circumstance that you're going through. So, say you're in a toxic relationship, like a love interest wise, and it's not a great relationship. You're not in that relationship and stuck in that relationship because everything happens for a reason, and that's why you're with this person, is so that you can then help them. Because as empath and sensitives, we can tend to do that a little bit. Not our responsibility, not within our control. I will add again. Sometimes we will focus on that we need to focus on forgiveness of people in the past. And as there are pieces of that that I totally agree with, but you also have to allow yourself to feel all of the feelings, because we can bypass just by saying like we need to forgive them. Oh, they were doing the best that they could. Yes, they were. Doesn't mean it's okay in your life. It doesn't mean that you can just forgive and move on and like zero feelings. Your feelings don't mean anything in it. You just need to be more forgiving. No, that's not a thing. So spiritual bypassing or just bypassing in general, I think a lot of people do this with self-help books, personal books, uh, when they're reading or meditating or doing yoga or exercising. That's a form of bypassing sometimes, because you're just like trying to put the false positive out there, right? Using sensitivity and empathic superpowers, I'm even going to call them. Sometimes we'll like use that as an excuse of like, I can't handle it because I can't handle negative energy. I heard this the other day. Fragility and sensitivity are not the same thing. So even if you are an empath and you can really feel things, or if you are a really sensitive person, that doesn't mean that you can't handle feelings. And sometimes we will use that as an excuse. I have guilty, guilty of totally used that as like, oh, that situation's too heavy. I'm not going to dive into that because like I'll feel it all and it's so heavy and I get stuck in there. No, no, that's bypassing. That is totally bypassing. The biggest one that I want you to take home today is that some emotions to you, you have deemed as acceptable, and some you have deemed as not acceptable. And so you try to not cry, you try to not get angry, you try to not feel hurt, you try not to feel jealousy or rage or passion or like some of these deeper emotions within us. Please don't look at them that way any longer. All emotions are good. All emotions are good. Why am I feeling these emotions? Let's dig into that. Let's just like get in here and see what that is actually about instead of being like, those are bad. I shouldn't feel those. I'm supposed to be higher than this. I'm supposed to be better at this. I have all these tools in my toolbox. I used to say this to myself, good grammar, all the time. I know the ways to get out of this. Why am I not knowing, like, going with this? Why am I not using this? I know this will shift my energy. I know that will shift my energy. Yes, I do know those things. But until I've fully felt the feels, I should not be doing those things to shift myself out because I'm not dealing with them. So then it constantly like bubbles up at the surface. It's right below the surface. And so then like one little thing will happen and I'm like right in that depths again. Whereas if I had just really worked through it, wouldn't have been as clingy to me. So to avoid this, I want you to do your shadow work. I want you to, maybe you don't even know what that means. I want you to dig into the hurt feelings or the hard feelings or the uncomfortable feelings. Make friends with that side. Accept all of you as amazing and beautiful and so badass. That's what you are. I want you to reset your beliefs because, again, sometimes we feel like we can't face it because it's so hard for us. We feel so many things, or that my emotions are bad. So reset those two beliefs. Come into your power. Don't think of yourself as a victim. Just because you're an empath, you are not a victim. Embrace your humanity. Embrace that you are human and that you have these feelings, because if you didn't have these feelings over here that you're trying to avoid, you wouldn't have these awesome feelings over here that you really like, and those are super juicy and you want to live in those. Embrace, have more. Embrace, have more. I promise you. And work with your triggers. It's the last thing I'm going to leave you with. Chances are something within this video triggered you. And a trigger means it made you feel not good. And it might have meant that you even clicked off. Some people would have clicked off of this already so that they couldn't be triggered by what I was telling them. Look at those as beautiful opportunities for growth. Those are a time for you to lean in, feel really good. Okay, that made me feel crappy, but in turn, I can let that make me feel good because I'm going to learn something about myself here. I'm going to dig into that. I'm not going to allow that to run my life. Okay? Tell it like it is Tuesday. Stop bypassing. Stop reading the books. Stop trying to always think positive thoughts. Stop trying to just think better. Stop trying to be just positive. It is not about good vibes only. Not a thing. Not a thing, guys.